makes me wanna holler, go away. I need more peace and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? I need strategies, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I've got strategies for living, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
We need them. Yeah, we need those strategies, don't we? Those strategies for living. So, are you ready? You ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
I hope they're ready, because I don't know that we could be talking about a more important topic.
I agree, Lauren. Hey, folks, welcome into another edition of Strategies for a Living. I'm Dr. David McMillian. She is psychotherapist, LPC Lauren Leon McMillian. And you're right. I don't think we could be talking about a more important subject than we're talking about today. Mm-hmm. But it's a topic that we shy away from.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know.
Sure.
You've heard it said that you can't really live until you face your own death.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And yet, that's hard for us to do.
Yeah, it is. I think especially in the West, where we like you said, we shy away and we don't want to face it. We don't want to look at it.
In our culture, we even, the highest compliment can be, oh, he looks so good. Mm-hmm. Well, hell, he's not supposed to look good. He's dead.
Right.
But,
right.
The thing is, how do you live so you can die without fear? Because what we're really talking about here is a lot of fear around the subject of death.
Right. Of the unknown.
Yeah.
Right?
And so we have a life strategist today that I am so excited is here. His name is Ram Dev Dale Borglum. Mm-hmm. And he's got a book. It's out from New World Library. It's fairly recent. It's called How to Live So You Can Die Without Fear. And so, when the folks at New World Library reached out and said, hey, we got a guy who can help your audience learn to live so fully that death no longer needs to be feared. Well, we said, where do we sign, right?
That's right.
And so Ram Dev Dale Borglum is our life strategist today. Folks, we appreciate you being a part of Strategies for Living, and we appreciate our sponsors who've made it all possible. The Robinson Film Center and Azalea Cleaners and Pintail Roofing and the Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitas Delicatessen, home of the Buffy, SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. We're coming back in a moment. You'll meet Ram Dev Dale Borglum, How to Live So You Can Die Without Fear. That's today here on Strategies for Living. Come back and join us.
Tune in daily, find the light. Healthy mind and spirits bright. Strategies for living strong. Feel the vibe, it won't go wrong. Body moves and soul align. Catch the rhythm, feel the time. Radio rehab every day. Chase those clouds of gray away. Your daily dose of radio rehab. Lift you up when skies seem trapped. Mind and body, spirits free. Living life in harmony.
And welcome into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian. Let's welcome into the program now. He's a pioneering figure in the conscious dying movement. He's Ram Dev Dale Borglum. He's the executive director of the Living Dying Project. He's spent decades helping individuals face death and life with greater awareness, and he's collaborated with leaders in the field, including Ram Dass, Stephen Levine, and Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, one of my heroes.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, so welcome.
Lots of the greats.
Welcome, Dale Borglum, to Strategies. Welcome in.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So I'm a little jealous right away that you did work with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. I just got to, I got to get that out of the way here, Dale. True confessions, right?
Okay, well, she was certainly a pioneer. I mean, before Elizabeth showed up, people just didn't want to talk about dying in America.
Yeah.
And she had such a charismatic personality and such a openness about her that people felt comfortable in coming to her workshops and talking about dying and grieving and illness in a way that was, up until then, denied in our country, for sure.
Yeah. So how did this book come to be? Because I'll hold it up to the radio so people can see it. It's out from New World Library. It's called How to Live So You Can Die Without Fear. It's excellent. Yes. How did the book come to be, Dale?
Oh, I've been doing this work for a really long time, and people kept saying, when are you going to put that stuff down so I can send the book to my grandmother or something like that? So finally, I wrote the book, and I really do want to point out, though, that the book isn't so much about dying. It's about healing.
Right.
The organization I run is called the Living/Dying Project. And the work is really about that interface between living and dying, which is kind of the way we're living is kind of going a long way in determining how we're going to die. And the fact that we're going to die can inspire us to be more alive right now. So you and I and the audience is probably all assuming that we're going to be alive at the end of this podcast, and you're going to go to dinner and you're going to see your friends, and tomorrow you're going to wake up, and very probably that's true, but we really don't know. We don't know. So does that mean that right now you and me can realize that this is our chance to be with another human being, to be vulnerable and honest and loving? And can we live that way because we're informed by the fact that we're going to die and we don't know when? Everybody wants to heal, whether you're, and by healing, I mean feeling more whole. Right. Certainly if you have cancer, you'd like to be cured of cancer, but even if you don't have some illness, people want to feel whole. And people want that even a day or two before the end of their life if they have a degenerative disease. So it really is about how can we live, how can we bring the wisdom of the ages from Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, psychology, all the wisdom, how can we bring that together so that we can be more alive right now? And I'm a recovering mathematician, if that makes any sense.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
So how did you get? So how did you get from math to the dying?
Yeah, did you work a 12-step plan, or what'd you do there?
Well, just to complete the other thought, I've got a PhD in mathematics, which I've never really used as a mathematician, but it's enabled me to see the overriding pattern, what all of the wisdom traditions have in common. So that whether you're a Christian or a Buddhist or a Hindu or an agnostic or a psychotherapist who doesn't believe in anything other than Freud and Jung or whatever, still there is this path to wholeness, right? And people get all caught up in this is my way, not your way, this is the good way, this is the bad way. But there is a core truth to all of these things. So what happened to me was I was going to graduate school in Palo Alto, California at Stanford. And it just turned out that whenever Ram Dass would come to Northern California, he'd stay in a house right across the street from me. So we got to be friends.
Oh, wow.
And I'll make a long story short, but I got my PhD and I realized that I wanted to go to India and kind of see if I could get what he had. That being a mathematician during the time of Sputnik and trying to catch up to the Russians and all that, they kind of pushed the smart kids into math and science. So there I was, and I was really good at it, but it didn't have much passion for me. I was saying, what, am I going to really be manipulating numbers for the rest of my life? I don't think so. So I went to India, and before that, I took psychedelics. I went to India. I did a very deep meditation practices, long retreats, and I came back here and didn't want to be a scientist. So I ended up living with Ram Dass and being the executive director of his nonprofit, service-oriented umbrella corporation. At one point, he taught a workshop on the East Coast at which Elizabeth Kubler-Ross attended as a student.
Wow.
And at this workshop, Stephen Levine was the Buddhist meditation teacher, and Stephen and Elizabeth really hit it off. She invited him to be the meditation teacher at her retreats. He started doing that. They did that for a while. They parted ways amicably because she got involved in kind of violent psychodrama war on negativity. Mm-hmm. But so Stephen was living on one side of Santa Cruz, California, Ram Dass and I on the other side. And we invited him to start doing what he was doing as part of our foundation. And basically that was the beginning of the conscious dying movement. And what we mean by that is simply applying the wisdom, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, contemplative wisdom to the encounter with end-of-life issues. So back in those days, they had books about conscious golf and conscious home birth and, conscious everything, but not about conscious death until Ram Dass had been a friend of this guy, Aldous Huxley, who wrote a book called Island.
Right.
And in that book, there was a utopian community that had a place to die consciously. Ram Dass thought this was this great idea, and he went around talking about it. But until Elizabeth showed up a few years later and started bringing dying out of the closet, so to speak, nobody wanted to talk about dying, much less conscious dying.
Yeah.
But finally, we got to that point in the early 80s, late 70s, where, okay, we can begin to talk about this. We can apply devotion and compassion and mindfulness to grief, to end-of-life illness, to caregiving practices. Can people be mindful and compassionate as their caregivers rather than getting all burned out, for instance?
Yeah.
Can one consciously work with grief? And beyond that, the world's contemplative traditions actually say that the end of life, what happens as you're dying, is the most auspicious opportunity to die into that oneness, if you will. Mm-hmm. It's even talked about. It's even talked about in the New Testament. If you kind of read between the lines in not an entirely cut and dried way, but Christ talks about becoming one with the Father.
Yeah.
In Tibetan Buddhism, they talk about when you die, you see a light as bright as 1,000 suns. Mm-hmm. That's pretty darn bright.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we now, as we're sitting here, realize that light, that quality of love, is inherent in each moment? We don't have to wait until we're dying. In fact, if we do wait until we get to that point, probably it's going to be too late.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that each moment is preparation for dying. It's not a morose, negative kind of thing. It's really quite the opposite. It's that now is the time to wake up. Now is the time to be alive.
Yeah.
So the book talks about, here are practices, attitudes, pathways to not get stuck, to not go on long detours, to become embodied. A lot of meditation practice in the West, I think, has a major missing piece in that it's disembodied, that there's really not enough conversation about being grounded, being centered, as you begin this big project of disidentifying with the illusion of separateness and identifying with who we really are.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things I really emphasize is getting grounded in the body, feeling the support of Earth Mother, of
Gaia, if you will.
Earth element.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing that struck me Dale, most about the book is its practicality. It's like a map, and you kind of alluded to this. It's a healing path that you have created, but it's a very practical, and that's what I really want people to hear, because we're not talking about something esoteric or out there.
Right.
We're talking about something that will help you live better now. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the mathematician in me. I mean, people ask me these philosophical questions, and I say, that's really interesting, but I don't care. What I want to know is, how can I be alive more right now, be more loving, be more connected, have a more spacious heart? And how can I help you do that? Not so much, what does this all mean and what's going to happen after you die and all these philosophical ideas. But philosophy is fine. It's interesting, but I'm not sure it's going to get us happier or freer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about how do we apply it?
One of our former life strategists, Anne Lamott, who was on several years ago, wrote on the cover of Dale's book, "This book is brilliant and welcoming, with the potential to change the life of anybody who reads it." I couldn't say that any better. The book is How to Live So You Can Die Without Fear, out from New World Library. Dale Borglum is its author, and he's our life strategist today here on Strategies for Living. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. We've got lots more here on Strategies.
Facing the same old problems day to day makes you wanna holler, get away. Looking for the road that'll get me there. Looking for hope and peace to spare. Looking for strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio.
And welcome back in to Strategies for Living Radio. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian. We're with Ram Dev Dale Borglum today. The book is How to Live So You Can Die Without Fear. It's out from New World Library. It's an excellent book. And I hope you'll you can find it wherever you buy books. And I hope you'll do that. There was something that I found very interesting, Dale, that I think, people are going to be interested in. And you write in the book about connecting to the place within us that does not die. Now, some people that are going to do a double take to that, the place within us that does not die. And what does that mean? Especially in practical terms.
As you pointed out before, I do present a path or even a map in the book. And what you're just asking is the prize at the end. That's the end stage. And I can explain it in words, but until one has developed an embodied mindfulness, where you're able to be with the content of experience, where then you begin to open the heart, feel compassion, an open heart in relationship to the suffering in yourself and all around. So that now you're really with your relationship with experience, not just the content of it. And then beyond that, the next stage of empowerment, where you begin to really get the nature of experience itself, that it's all sacred, that war is sacred, that cancer is sacred, just as much as peace and health, that it's all faces of God.
Right.
Then when we can go through all the stages, then your question becomes much easier to answer. Before then, I can put some words to it. And what I would say is that in the Western worldview, and I'm going to get slightly theoretical here, please forgive me, but
you're forgiven.
The Western worldview is that there's an objective separate reality out there that you and I, as individual perceiving devices, are perceiving. Mm-hmm. If I hold up my computer mouse right now, and we were on visual podcast instead of auditory one, everybody would assume I'm seeing Dale's mouse and I know exactly what it looks like. There's something out there.
Right.
Modern quantum mechanics has proven mathematically what ancient tantric wisdom says is that no, that's backwards. That there's one reality, one consciousness flowing through us individual filters, creating reality. We're projecting the reality out there, not receiving it in here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so what is it? What is that consciousness? So that right now, just as a very quick, cheap, dirty example, if I ask you now, just pay attention to the sound of my voice, just listening. What is it that continues when I stop? In that silence, is there something that continues? Is there an awakeness, a beingness, an aliveness,
an observer,
awareness itself?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And don't we often get fixated on the object of experience?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Or even on the subject. I'm listening to David instead of hearing is going on. That we have to conceptualize everything. So that getting more into the moment, which Zen talks about, mindfulness meditation talks about, getting into the present moment and then with an open heart, just being with things, letting go of the concepts, feeling what's going on in your body, being awake. There's something that doesn't change.
Yeah.
Now, you're in Louisiana, I'm in California. I'm probably older than either of you. I might have less hair. I can't see you guys, but those differences are real.
Yeah.
You know, you're in Louisiana, I'm in California. That's a real difference.
Sure.
But at the same time, is there another dimension that people talk about when they take psychedelics, when they go deeply into meditation, when they go deeply into prayer? They maybe have an experience of that in nature or with music or in deep meditation, as I said.
Well, it's part of what makes distance healing possible too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It is exactly. And isn't that at least as real, if not more real, that when we're lost in all of the day-to-day content, the moment-to-moment stuff that's happening?
Yeah. So anybody that has been healed, you know, from a distance, you would have a hard time convincing them that, hey, whatever I've been healed of is not real. Yeah.
I had a chiropractor who could heal me over the telephone.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He would adjust my neck. He said, just lie down and lie there for half an hour and get up and you'll be fine. And it worked. And I said, well, how do you do that? He said, I don't even really need to know what's wrong with you. I don't care if it's your cervical spine or your thoracic spine or whatever it is. I go into wholeness myself and I see you as whole. Mm-hmm. I don't focus on your problem. I don't focus on you as separate.
Right.
I focus on the illusion of separateness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I go into wholeness and I bring you into the wholeness with me. And then if your body is able to heal, it does it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's very much akin to perhaps what Jesus was doing 2,000 years ago. He was aware.
I certainly, yes. Yeah. So I would like to give a plug to my organization, the Living Dying Project. We have a website.
Do. Yeah, please do.
livingdying.org, livingdying.org. And it's the most complete website on the whole internet about conscious dying, about healing, grieving, caregiving. There's a lot of free lectures. I've got a group every other Saturday that has 1,250 people in it, Zoom group. Yeah. Not everybody comes, but everybody gets the recording.
Right.
So there's a lot of free material, guided meditations. We have free of charge one-to-one support for people all around the world, trained volunteers who work with people who are grieving, dying, or caregiving. We have free of charge support groups that people can come to.
Fantastic.
So all of that is there, and I invite people to take a look at the website.
Give it one more time, Dale, and we'll give it again before the end of the show too.
The two words as one word: living, dying. LIVINGDYING.org. Living Dying Project. I remember once I went to the bank when people still went to banks, and I had to check the deposit or something, and it was for the Living Dying Project, and the teller said, "Oh, I know what your organization is. You dye clothes, don't you?" And
I love it.
I said, "No, we actually dye people, but that's another story."
I love it. You know, I practiced as a psychotherapist for 30 years or so, and so I don't know how much anxiety I worked with, but a lot. And oftentimes I would think, as I was working with this person or that person, I would think, you know, there's something underneath this. They're really afraid of dying. And you wrote about that. You say in the book that the deeper fear of death is beneath a lot of our anxieties. So that really resonated with me when you talk about that.
Okay, good. So in English, we say, "I am afraid." In Spanish, people say, "Yo tengo miedo." I have fear. In Tibetan, fear is here.
Oh gosh!
So
what a difference!
Just in the way we language or think about emotions, it's harder as English-speaking people to not get lost in emotion.
Yeah.
And once again, is this recovering mathematician joke I keep telling. My equation is that all fear is fundamentally fear of death. And fear of death is exactly the place where you are not enlightened. So fear of death is the place where you're caught in separateness. The New York Times did a survey a number of years ago. What are you most afraid of? Number 1 was speaking in public. Number 3 was dying. Unfortunately, I can't remember number 2. But if you think about who would be afraid about, what part of you would be afraid of speaking in public? It's the part that I think I'm separate from you. I would be embarrassed if I don't do well enough. You might not like me.
Right.
And that's the place that's afraid about dying, right?
Yeah.
So in a way, one of the most core spiritual practices is learning to befriend and to embrace that fundamental fear.
You know, it's interesting because I had a client recently, and he was talking about that, you know, he's recognized that he's not really afraid of dying so much as he's afraid of living. But what I hear you saying is that maybe it's the same fear.
So he's not maybe afraid of the concept of dying.
Yeah.
But if I waterboarded your client, he would be afraid.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So that any place that he's still afraid of pain or embarrassment or dementia or loneliness, that's going to be there when you're dying. One of my favorite lines these days is that when you are dying, our president, Donald J. Trump, will be at your bedside smiling at you. And what I mean by that is that any unconscious reaction that you have, love the guy or hate the guy, but there are very few people that hear Donald J. Trump and don't have some unconscious reactivity, one way or the other.
You're
right. That's a good
right.
way to stir it up.
You're right. How to live so you can die without fear. Ram Dev Dale Borglum is our life strategist today here on Strategies for Living. We've got much more to learn, so don't go away. Just stay with us. We'll be right back here on Strategies.
We all have have problems every day. We all need help along the way. We need strategies, strategies, strategies for living radio.
And welcome back in. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian. We're with Ram Dev Dale Borglum today. Got a great book. You got to get this book, folks. It's called How to Live So You Can Die Without Fear. It's an easy get. It's out from New World Library, and I hope you will. I want to touch on something real quickly that connects with what you were talking about a bit at the end of last segment, and that is, we're a worn out culture. We're a worn out world.
Perhaps
right
dying
now.
to some degree.
I don't know. Maybe. But Dale, what are your thoughts on? There's a lot going on in the world, and it seems like we're hating on one another right and left and in between. What are your thoughts?
Well, I talk to so many people who are exhausted. Even people who are like physically well, are just saying, wow, my life is seemingly out of control right now.
Yeah.
And all of these strategies or concepts we've talked about so far in terms of there's an individual person who's grieving or who might be dying or is caregiving can be extrapolated to the collective.
Mm-hmm.
Does the planet have cancer? Are we as a collective culture right now? Do we have some life-threatening illness? Basically, my view is that to get out of this spot that America seems to be backed into this corner at, that we need a transformation of consciousness.
Yeah.
And that usually happens through near-death experience or through trauma or through grief or through psychedelics or through deep contemplation.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can expect the whole society to meditate or take psychedelics.
Right.
And hopefully we don't want to get the collective to a near-death experience. So
Right.
we're left with this trauma. How can we deal with this trauma? And to deal with the trauma collectively, I think we have to admit it and begin to experience it in our bodies, to be mindful of what it feels like to be around other people who are having a hard time, and that in some way compassion is at the center of this whole endeavor that I've been talking about. That compassion is the part of the spiritual path. Before compassion, it's personal. I'm trying to fix myself because I feel inadequate and I'm not happy. After compassion, there's a sense of abundance and connection. But compassion is that bridge. The wonderful poet Rumi says, grief can be the garden of compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, we're all grieving right now. We're grieving what's happening to our country, or to our neighbors, to ourselves, to the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Can we grieve consciously so that we can find this compassion? And the Tibetan Buddhists say this remarkable thing about compassion, which is that compassion is a mixture of sadness and joy.
Mm-hmm.
We're sad because there's suffering, but there's a joyfulness that transcends happiness and sadness because our heart is open.
Yeah.
So can we hear these stories about children being hungry, or people being bombed, or people being brutalized, or the planet having this or that going on? Can we hear those things and feel sadness, be willing to be touched by it?
Yeah.
Because we are embodied, we have this embodied mindfulness. And at the same time, though, keep our heart open, feel a joyfulness. If you go deeply enough into Christianity or to Buddhism or whatever religion, there is that joyfulness along with the suffering.
Yeah.
Is suffering grace, or is suffering a mistake? And in a way, this boils down to motivation. If you want to really, truly be free, then what's going on now is grist for the mill. It's showing us what work needs to be done next, that the place where I'm suffering is where my heart is not open enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The place where I'm lost is trying to tell me something, that all emotions have healing messages.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we can calm down and open up enough and hear what the message is.
Yeah. There may be some people listening to us right now who are trying to support a friend or a family member who's dying and afraid. What do you say to them? What advice do you give to anyone who's trying to support a friend or a family member who's going through this?
Well, for the longest time when I did this work personally, I thought my job was to rush in and rescue people. And the longer I've done this, I realize that's not it at all. That my job is, can I be with people and I'm working with myself? It's almost like there's this knob on the side of my head that goes between 0 and 100. How much attention is inside? How am I feeling? How open am I? And how much of it is out there in the world? Usually that knob is at an unconscious setting. And what I'm saying is we can play with that knob. And like right now when I'm talking to you, suppose you were somebody that had come to me because you were having a hard time. Instead of getting lost in my mind, oh my God, what am I going to say to these people? They're so nice, but they're having a hard time. What can I do? Can I drop into my body? Can I go into my heart and be a model, a living model that this moment too is workable? This moment is open to mindfulness. It's open to compassion. It might be a difficult moment. It might not be a pleasant moment.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we have to get lost in concepts and just go crazy in our minds.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? That it can be possible to be this living example. And if we take the ultimate example, you're at the bedside of somebody who's dying. If you're in that room and you're saying, oh my God, the person's dying. Oh my God, that's the cancer patient. That person's probably going to feel kind of lonely, even if you're trying to be helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you connect with that human being who's in there, even though they have this difficult disease or might be approaching death? But there is a human being there that could be connected with. If you're grounded, centered, embodied mindfulness, open your heart. We can do that right now, the three of us.
Yeah.
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 Lauren, David, and Dale. My brother's name was David. He died. Hopefully he'll be alive for a long time.
I'm counting on it.
Yeah,
Dale.
there you go. There you go. I by the way, before we get out of talking about all of this, part of the book towards the end is conscious caregiving. And so again, I know that there's a number of people who listen to us who are providing care, probably some that are, ill and facing our inevitable end of physical life. But again, what a practical book, How to Live So You Can Die Without Fear. livingdyingproject.org. Did I get that right?
No.
Living Dying.
Living Dying. Living Dying.
.org.
Okay, livingdying.org. And that's the Living Dying Project, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, good deal. And the book, again, it's out from New World Library, and it's called How to Live So You Can Die Without Fear. The author is Ram Dev Dale Borglum, out from New World Library, a book that every household should have a copy of. We will be. You don't disagree with me, do you?
My publisher loves you.
There you go. I love your publisher. We'll be back here on Strategy. And welcome back into Strategies for Living. I'm asking our producer for another 2 hours, and he's shaking his fist at us.
Well, it's a paw, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren McMillian, David McMillian. We're with Ram Dev Dale Borglum. The book is How to Live So You Can Die. Unfortunately, we don't have another couple of hours, but how rich this conversation has been. Dale, what do you want? What do you most want people to take away from what we've talked about today?
Life is really precious. Each time you're with somebody, might be the last time you're with that person. A dear friend of mine unexpectedly died a few days ago. Healthy guy, seemingly. He got in the bathtub. He didn't get out of the bathtub alive. He died in the bathtub. And life is precious. Be kind to each other, but particularly be kind to yourself.
Yes.
And realize that each moment is our opportunity to do that. There's no time to waste. I'm in my 80s, believe it or not. I have a hard time believing it myself sometimes. And
you sure don't
all
look
my
it.
life I've been thinking.
Yeah. No.
Well,
all my life I've been saying, I'm going to get there tomorrow. I'm going to do it now, though. Let's do it now.
There you go. Well, Dale, thank you so much for the work you're doing on the planet, and I hope we can do this again here on Strategies. Thank you.
My pleasure, and thanks for what you guys are doing, too.
How to Live So You Can Die Without Fear, New World Library. Folks, thank you for tuning into Strategies. We appreciate you listening, and we appreciate our sponsors who make it all possible. The Robinson Film Center, and Azalea Cleaners, and Pintail Roofing, and Learning RX, and the Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitas Delicatessen, home of the Muffy, SRT Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira Direct Primary Care. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who is it that you'd call? What is it that you'd say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Dale Borglum, for Lauren McMillian, I'm David McMillan. See you next time right here on Strategies for Living.